The bird flu outbreak can get worse if people keep flouting the ban on the hawking of birds. That's according to the Deputy Minister of Agriculture in charge of livestock, Hannah Bisu. There are biosecurity systems put in place to halt the spread of the avian influenza, but it seems the measures are not being strictly adhered to. The latest flu has been confirmed at the Kantamanto market in Accra. So is it still safe to consume chicken? As Muslims also prepare to celebrate their Eid, many households will consume a lot of chicken. How safe is this? But how can we protect ourselves also from getting the avian influenza? Also this evening, Energy Policy Think Tank, African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, says consumers have been cheated by oil marketing companies in the latest fuel price reductions. These are today's big stories, and my name is Aisha Ibrahim. The country has been battling with the containment of the outbreak of bird flu since May this year. Deputy Minister of Agric in charge of livestock says if the biosecurity measures put in place to halt the spread is not strictly adhered to, the outbreak can get worse.
Well, it's true. About 40 cockerels that were sent to the Kantamanto market for sale, had bird flu. Of course, they died, and it was a backyard production. So all the birds that the person had, they all died. As to how it came to the backyard, that we don't know. It's not only the first backyard that we've had issues with. One lady at Achimota, she was also a backyard thing, but it was about 400 or so birds. They all died. And so that was it. But what the importance of what happened at Kantamanto is the ban that we have placed. Because if this trader was moving around with those birds, you know what would have happened? They would have just spread the flu, because the droppings of the affected birds carries the virus, active virus, and that period the active discharge, they are just spreading it, and so we don't want people moving around with it. And it's unfortunate that usually when things are coming, when you foresee them and you put measures to make sure that these things do not get out of hand, people normally don't want to obey it. In Tree, they say that a food tune such a nipajes and sorry, that you may advise somebody, they will not take it unless they get into the problem. Then that is where they'll start remembering the advice that you gave. But this is a national issue, and we are going to enforce it.
It's interesting that you talk about the ban, because we've heard conflicting reports, some saying that the ban is only in Accra, some are saying nationwide. What exactly is in this ban? Is it a ban on sale of poultry in Accra and movement of it? Explain it to us.
Well, it's not restricted to Accra. It's a national fiat. It's for the whole nation.
A halt in the sale of poultry?
It's not a halt in the sale. I said the hawking.
Okay.
You don't hawk. Okay. Don't carry it around. Normally, when there's an outbreak, it's a standstill command. It's a complete ban on movement of any form of bread.
The minister says we must stop buying from hawkers to help control the spread of the disease. But some Eid al-Fitr celebrants are hopeful God will still protect them from getting the flu. Let's first hear an advice from the Deputy Agric Minister on how we can protect ourselves.
We should feel free to go in for eggs and chicken. You see,
when the situation is getting worse?
No, the situation is getting worse with the farms. But you see, if you check, those who get the infection, they are not those who consume, those who work with the birds. Okay. So it's safe to eat the chicken, well cooked, of course, not to eat it raw. I'm hajia to fatty bisu, and we are breaking our fast. And so, of course, for me, I break at the end. They do the fast and I break with them.
I know, right? Okay, I see you are here to get yourself some chicken.
Yeah, we are here to buy the chicken for the salad. And this chicken, they are very good because we believe in Allah and there is no any sickness in the chicken. So we thank Almighty God for bringing us so far for the fasting, and barakah salah to all the Muslims.
I don't entertain any fears of maybe, bird flu.
Oh no, there's no fear because we believe in Al-Baraka Manzu Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's always protecting us, so there is no fear. By the grace of Allah, there is no sickness. Right. And we thank Almighty God.
Even though God will protect us, what can we do to help control the spread? Let's get onto the phone lines and speak with Kojo Asante. He is the president of the Ghana Association of Poultry Farmers. Good evening. We appreciate your time. Hello, Mr. Kojo Asante. I think we have lost him. We'll be trying to get him back on the line, but we're speaking about the bird flu outbreak. It started somewhere May this year, and we're told the situation could get worse if the measures put in place by the Agric Ministry to curb it or to contain it is not strictly adhered to. Ministry of Agric is worried people are trying to flout the rules. And as we are waiting for the Eid tomorrow, we're also expecting a lot of households to consume chicken. And so we're looking at how safe it will be for us to consume chicken. We have Kojo Asante back on the line. He's president of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association. Good evening. We appreciate your time on today's big story. Hello, Mr. Asante. We lost him once again. We'll take a break on today's big story. We'll be back with the discussion. This is today's big story. I told you earlier that energy policy think tank African Center for Energy Policy ASAP is on its way to court to sue OMCs, accusing them of cheating consumers in the latest fuel price reduction. If you recollect, yesterday there was a reduction of between 13 to 15% at the fuel pumps. Joining me in the studio is Ishmael Aka. He is with ASAP, he's Director of Research, I'm told. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You were here yesterday and we started the discussion. Let's continue. But I thought it was good news to have some reduction. Why are you going to court?
Yeah, we indicated yesterday it was good news, but we thought, I said yesterday that it was not enough. I think that there are certain factors you all consider. I mean, when prices were going up, consumers were crying, and we thought that we're implementing a policy, and a time will come, consumers will benefit. So I think this is the time. We have the international oil prices almost stable for the past 2 weeks. We have taxes stable.
Right.
The margin is the same. But exchange rate, the CD has appreciated by about 26%. Why don't you pass this on to the consumer so that when there's depreciation, you can probably also pass it on.
Right.
But if 26% and you are passing 11, 12, 15%, then it means that the consumer is shortchanged. So this is where we are coming from. Already you are making your full recovery. They have their margin, I think 16.67 pesos per liter, which is the maximum MPA allows. So you are making profit. So if the exchange rate is good and you are not passing on the full, it means that you are getting something the consumer should have gotten. And that is making supernormal profit, which is not allowed in any competition.
I think that per the reduction, we're now buying at 15, 16, away from the 18 we used to buy.
Yeah.
In your estimation, how much should we pay for fuel if they're doing the right thing?
Yeah, what we are saying is actually more like in percentage terms, that the reduction is about, say, average of 14%. We were expecting a reduction of between 23 to 27% for diesel,
Right.
and between 18 to 25% for petrol. So this is what we're expecting. So I think that they are taking about 7 or more percent, which does not belong to them, but to the consumer.
Right, and so in your view, they are trying to take some money away from the consumer, which they are not supposed to. So if the right thing is done, how much should we buy fuel at the pumps?
I think that for diesel, it should be 2.92 per liter. For petrol, it should be 3.23 per liter. So this is, I mean, this is it. But now, I think the lowest we are having is Goil or so, and that is 3.4 per liter. Okay, and even that is not as low as what it should have been.
That's 3 cedi 40 pesos?
40 pesos
so
per
per
liter.
gallon would be how much?
Actually, I have not done the calculation.
That would be around 10 cedis?
Yeah, probably.
Something
yeah,
like that?
Yeah.
Well, my math is not too good, but this time I think I got it right. But so you want to go to court, and you have stated clearly that if consumers will pay for your fees. So have you had any consumers coming in to say, okay, we support your cause, so we will bear the cost, so let's go to court?
Yeah, what we are saying is that the best regulator in the market is the consumer.
Right.
Because one, we have access to information right now. BDCs publish data on their website. That is one. Secondly, we have the court, and there are certain laws, even the NPA Act 691 fronts upon some of these things, cheating, unfair competition and all that. So if you see indication of any of these things happening, then I think that any of us, not just ASAP, any consumer at all can go to court and challenge. But before then, I think that we are calling on MPA. I don't know why they are so quiet now.
Right,
on this matter, to come, and if there's an explanation, they should explain. If there's no explanation, then they should sanction or warn or enforce these OMCs to pass on the full benefit to the consumer, so that in a case when there's a depreciation and they want to pass it on the consumer, it won't be difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
You made the point that elsewhere the deregulation, for instance, is announced 2 weeks after it's taken effect, and in the UK, I remember you stated that the same day you feel it at the pumps. You feel that because we did not do our calculation well, that's why we're experiencing these kind of things?
Not really, because I think what is happening is that the OMCs buy from the BDCs.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, there are certain OMCs which are BDCs themselves like oil, like Allied Oil and coal. So the BDCs gave the OMCs, I think, 17% reduction.
Okay.
So if they are giving, if there's 26% reduction and your major supplier is giving you 17%, you cannot maybe pass on 26% to the consumer. I think that's what happened. But we were expecting that in the worst case, at least they will pass on that 17 to the consumer. At least the OMCs would have been fine, then we can now tackle the BDCs. And yesterday, I think we said here that there's a possibility of a cartel.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is where, again, we also at times call on the government that we should do well to make sure that TOR works.
Yes.
If TOR is working as a BDC,
exactly,
I think that refining about 45,000 barrels a day, they can pump in more oil, and some of these things can stop. Yeah, but we have about 28 BDCs, they come together, they give 17, and nobody is saying anything. The regulator is quiet.
Exactly, I was coming to that in all of these, is NPA's hands tied, that's why they're not talking, or it's simply because they're hopeless, they can't do anything about it?
I don't think they are hopeless, and I don't think their hands are tied, not at all.
What could be the reason then?
Yeah, the only reason is that they are quiet and nobody knows.
Or is it because they're also making some of the money that's being extracted from the consumer?
I don't think so. Probably there's early days yet, and maybe they are now also doing their own computation and all that, and probably at the right time they may come. But the fact is that by the time they come out, the consumer has been exploited so long. And what our fear is that it is not just now. The 15%, yes, we are happy with it. People will be happy and everything will be cool. But when the city depreciates by 30% and you want to pass that on, that is where the deregulation will stop and we'll go back to regulated market.
And it means that the prices will go back
higher. And
higher than we're paying.
That is it. What I'm saying is that now we have appreciation, 26%.
Exactly.
Let consumers benefit, and you want to share that benefit with the consumer. You want to make supernormal
benefit equally, because if it goes back, we share the pain together.
That is
so why are we not enjoying together? Right. I think I understand your plight. But you're also advocating for the removal of certain taxes, which you feel are outdated. For instance, yesterday you were explaining to me that some taxes we pay to toll, to settle the toll debt and all of that needs to. Do you think are you not going to court over that? Can we also sue over that? I thought that's really the matter you're going to pursue.
Yeah, I think that with the BDCs, what is happening and OMCs is more like unfair competition, which is stated in the law. With the taxes, I think they are government policies. Some of them are even margins, they are not taxes and all that. And we can go to court still to challenge that, but I think that we want to appeal now. That some of them, you have to give better reasons.
I think it would be fair to reiterate those taxes that are
those
being
taxes,
unfairly
bust margin,
charged.
toll recovery debt, some of these things, I think, even road fund, some of them to not just removed. I think they can be taken from somewhere, so that at least we can pay a little fairer price for petroleum. Yeah.
Well, and so what should we do as consumers? Now you are telling us that we are being cheated and you want to go to court, but only if consumers will support you. Now that you've not had any consumer coming in to support you, does it mean that your good cause is going to cease?
Not really. What we are, I think there are two stages. First, we are appealing to MPA and we are hoping that they will come out early next week to come and explain, come and throw more light on some of these things. So that is what we are hoping for. If MPA doesn't come, I think that consumers can take OMCs or BDCs to court, not just ASAP. That is one. Again, even though they are not giving us the full benefit, you can see that prices of the local OMCs, the domestic ones, are better than the foreign owned. For instance, when you take petroleum, Total is charging 2.5% more than Allied Oil. You take diesel, they are charging 2.3% more than Allied Oil. When you take diesel again, Shell is charging 1.9% more than Allied Oil. And you can compare this with Goil and other local ones. So though they are not giving us, I think the local ones are trying. And I think we have to support them. Consumers should buy from
the local,
not just local, those who are giving them very affordable prices, because prices should reduce, and again, very good service.
Who are those? Allied Oil is one of them.
Allied Oil, Goil is one of them, and I think most of the local.
We want to know because we also want to be safe. And then I'm much interested in the taxes that we're paying that we're not supposed to pay, because going by the explanation you gave us yesterday, meaning that all of these taxes now go to places where we don't even know, because we don't know where the toll debt is now, whether we've paid the debt or not, but we're still paying a token to be able to remove. So these are the things you think we can take them on?
Yeah, I think that, in the past, when we had regulated market, the government was subsidizing, and now we say we are not subsidizing. There could be another form of subsidy, and that is removal of some of these taxes.
Exactly.
So, as I said yesterday, the toll debt as 2003 was, I think, 1.4 billion.
Yeah.
Now, when you take 8 pesos we pay times the amount of gasoline we've consumed, even between 2003 to 2009, it means that we've got about 5.9 billion. Even with an interest rate of 10%, I don't think that by this time we should have paid that debt. Unfortunately, we don't even know how much we owe. We don't even know how much we've paid
so far.
So why should we continue to pay more?
Yeah.
That is one. When you take the exploration levy, you should have gone to GMPC for to explore, to look for oil and all that. Now we give, because of the discovery, we give so much to GMPs, in fact, so much more than they need.
And we don't even need to do that.
We don't need to do that.
Right.
And we are still paying. Now they are telling us that they give it to Petroleum Commission, that levy. Petroleum Commission does not look for oil. So why should I pay for exploration levy to petroleum regulator.
I think these are issues that we can take them on. Your final words.
We believe that, yes, the deregulation is good, but we should be very careful. If you are not careful, consumers will lose confidence in the policy, and it will not last long. It will come to more like most of the policies we have. Again, consumers are the best regulators. I mean, when you go to the website of BDCs, you get the data for petroleum prices, exchange rate, and some of these things. Try and do your basic calculations to know how much you should buy petroleum. Again, there are certain websites, and ASAP is one. We are starting on Monday. We'll list companies that are selling relatively cheaper prices. Visit sector and buy from those who give you good price and good quality. And
I think that if we come together and support you, we can go to court together.
That is
I'm interested in that. Many thanks for your time, Ishmael. We appreciate your time on today's Big Story. We've been talking about the increase in reduction in petroleum products, and ASAP says we should help them go to court because actually the OMCs are cheating us. We've been looking at bird flu, which we need to be careful, otherwise the case can worsen. My name is Barima. We'll be back with Join Us Interactive.